friends, my name is Alexis, and today we're going to be doing my first book haul of 2023. Over the last handful of weeks, I have had a lot of opportunities to receive a lot of amazing books, so I have a lot of books to show you today. I have a mixture of sources. Some of them were gifts, some I bought myself, and some were from publishers. I don't usually do book hauls on my channel because truthfully, I usually do not acquire so many books within a short period of time, but something has been in the freaking water because I literally have such a massive stack of books next to me. Like, I tried picking this up for the thumbnail and dropped them on myself a dozen times. Like, I cannot stress enough how gigantic this stack of books is that I have to share with you today. I'm not even going to try to order these in any way, shape, or form. I'm literally going to pull right off the top of the stack, and we're just going to talk about the books starting at the top and working our way down. So the very first book that's on the very top of the stack is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. So I bought this book myself at Target, and I am really excited to read it. I recently read a different book by the author, When in Rome, and I loved it so much I knew I instantly had to go out and get a different book by her. So I decided to pick up The Cheat Sheet just because I've seen it at Target a lot, and it looks relatively short, so I think I can get through it pretty quickly. But this book is a best friends to lovers book about a football player and a ballerina. It sounds like they end up even also having to fake date in it because of a media thing where the main character gets drunk and talks about some stuff on the media. So as a publicity stunt, they decide to fake date. And I just think this sounds so cute. I love the other book I read by this author so much, and I really have high expectations for this one. I know she also has another book coming out in 2023, which is definitely on my TBR. I loved her first book just so much, and I just think that this is going to be really fast and really cute. Also, as a note, because of the fact that they price match at Target, I was able to get this book for like almost $10 because they price match to Target and a bunch of other websites. So if you go to Target, I highly recommend asking for the price match because books get pretty cheap there. And that's how I got this one for such a good deal, because I am kind of on a book buying ban. Kind of not, but that's like, I can't pass it up for that cheap, and I'm so excited to read this. So the next book on my list is actually kind of a gift, and that is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I say kind of a gift because I had a girls' day with my mom and sister, and we were given a small budget of money we were allowed to spend at Target, and I ended up buying some books, and this was one of them. So Love and Other Words is one that I just feel like everyone has been talking about lately. First of all, the cover is super cute after the redesign, but this one I have just heard such amazing things about, and because I have loved so many other books by Christina Lauren, it kind of felt like a no-brainer that this is one I would want to read and pick up. But it sounds like it's about our main two characters, Macy and Elliot, and it's a dual timeline story talking about when they first fell in love as teenagers and then talking about their romance again as they reconnect later in life. So it sounds like it's going to be a really cute dual timeline second chance romance. I have just enjoyed so many books by Christina Lauren before that I really have high hopes for this one, and I think it's going to be really cute. I have heard that it's very heartbreaking and that it can be very sad at points, and I am really looking forward to picking this up. Christina Lauren have never disappointed me before, so I don't think they're going to start now. Next up, I have an ARC, which I'm so excited about, and that is You Wouldn't Dare by Samantha Markham. So I read and absolutely adored Samantha Markham's debut novel, which came out sometime in 2022. I thought it was so fun, so I knew that when this book came out, I was going to have to get my hands on it. This one doesn't come out actually until March of 2023, so I am so fortunate and lucky to have this advanced reader's copy. Thank you so much, Wednesday Books, for sending it to me. It was a complete surprise that they were sending it, and I cannot even tell you how freaking loud I gasped when I opened the package because I was not expecting this at all. So this is marketed as, by the way, Gilmore Girls meets You Have a Match, and it is a summery rom-com in like during the summer before your life changes forever, and it is a friends to lovers between our main two characters, Juniper and Graham. And I also think, based on the synopsis, that it is like a second chance romance. Our main character does something awful, and it ends up ending their friendship, so it definitely is going to be second chance. The cover is absolutely beautiful, and I just know that after reading that first book that I will pick up pretty much anything Samantha puts her hands on. Her first book was so enjoyable, and I just think this is going to be a beautiful and fun summer read. I truly just trust that woman with anything. I would literally read her grocery list, so I'm excited for this one. And thank you again to Wednesday Books. I'm looking forward to reading this. So the next book I have is also an ARC, but this one is from Penguin Teen, and that is Always Isn't Forever by J.C. Cervantes. This one comes out in June of 2023, so it's a summer release, and this one sounds heartbreaking and so cute. at the same time. So this one is marketed as for fans of You've Reached Sam, by the way. I personally did not like You've Reached Sam very much, so I'm excited for this one still, though. That doesn't really impact how I feel about this one. But I can definitely understand, based on the synopsis alone, why fans of You've Reached Sam would enjoy this one. But it's about our main two characters, Hart and Ruby here, and they have a really sweet love story that unfortunately ends when our main character, Hart, drowns while trying to save a child. But in a twist of fate, they get a second chance at romance because Hart is put back into like the world in the body of one of their classmates, and he has a limited amount of time to make Ruby fall back in love with him again in this different body. So this book definitely handles a lot of hard topics like grief, heartache, and mourning, but I am still nonetheless excited to read this. So I would recommend checking the trigger warnings for this one if you think any of those subjects are going to make you not feel well. I do think that this book is going to be really heartbreaking, but I am excited to read it nonetheless. I love a good sad book, especially if I know that when I go into it, it's going to be a sad one, and I think that this is going to just shatter my heart, and I genuinely kind of hope that it does. So, thank you so much again to Penguin Teen for sending me an ARC of this book. The next book is also an ARC from Penguin Teen because Penguin Teen spoils me and I love them, and that is Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. Kind of on similar notes from the other books I've talked about, I read Diana's debut novel, and I just thought it was so incredible that I've been keeping her on my radar ever since. I have yet to read her second book, but I think I might do like a little reading where I read this and her second book at the same time, because I just truly loved her first book so much, and I am really excited about this one. Lying in the Deep also just sounds so twisty and personally scary because it takes place on a cruise ship, and I'm terrified of cruise ships, so this one is about our main character Jade, who is stuck on a literal cruise ship with her ex-boyfriend and best friend, and they are now together, and she has like a deep emotional obsession with them, and there is unfortunately a murder on board, and she is kind of the prime suspect because of her obsession with these two, so she has to prove that she is in fact not the killer on this cruise ship. This one sounds really scary to me because personally, again, cruise ships scare me, and then having a murderer on the cruise ship, nightmares. That's nightmare material. Nonetheless, though, I am excited to read this one because I think Diana Urban is going to pull it off. This comes out in May of 2023, and thank you so much again to Penguin for sending me a copy. Next, I have The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This was a Christmas present from my grandma, so thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to read this. This has been on my list of books to read for so long, and there's been so many instances where I've literally gone to a bookstore, saw this book, thought about buying it, and then not bought it, so I'm really excited to finally have it. I feel like this is one of those romance staples that almost everyone who reads romance has read this series, but I haven't yet, so I've been really wanting to read this. It is a hockey or sports romance? Yes, okay, it's a hockey sports romance with fake dating, and it's the beginning of a long romance series. I know Elle Kennedy is a very beloved author, and I have not yet read anything from her, so I am really excited to dive into this. The next book I have is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. And okay, if you've seen a couple of my videos before, you're probably like, okay, Alexis, what? Why did you get that? Okay, let me explain. So, as a preface, I did not like the Spanish Love Deception, like, at all. Like, it was one of my least favorite books of 2022, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but I stand by it. But my point being, I think so many of my issues with that book were like, yes, the writing and stuff, but it was the writing because of the story. It was an enemies to lovers story, and that was like, honestly, I think most of my issues with a lot of the stuff surrounding the enemies to lovers and the specific story content, like how disordered eating was handled. So I've always kind of had in my brain that a different book by the same author could still be something I enjoy, and that maybe specifically The Spanish Love Deception just was not for me. So I decided to pick up The American Roommate Experiment, and I'm really hoping I like this one more than Spanish Love Deception. I read the first chapter, but I haven't actually like dived into the book yet, but I do think that this is something I'm hopefully going to be picking up early in 2023. If you don't know, The American Roommate Experiment is about our main character, Rosie, and also this dude named Lucas, and they essentially have a forced proximity moment because they both end up accidentally staying in their mutual friend's apartment in New York. And Rosie is an author, and she is having some writer's block, so Lucas offers to take her on some like mock dates around the city to try to like zhuzh up her inspiration. This sounds like it has good potential, and I'm going in with kind of lowered expectations because of my experience with The Spanish Love Deception, but I am truthfully very hopeful that I'm going to enjoy this one a lot more. The next book I have is also a gift from my grandma, and that was Things We Never Get Over by Lucy Score. I know Lucy Score is a very beloved author on Book Talk, especially, but I have not yet read her books yet, and I really want to because she's actually doing a signing in my state in a couple months, and I just want the possible opportunity to go to that. I don't know if I'll actually even be able to because of my schedule, but I definitely won't go if I haven't read her books. So I want to read her books before I possibly go. I honestly know very little about Things We Never Got Over the top of my head, just that it is a very heartbreaking book and that a lot of people really love it and that there is a bit of a family moment because the main character has to take care of her niece. This book is unexpectedly thick. Like, I knew it was a big book, but it's like rather short and chunky. I am excited to read it nonetheless. I've just heard so many good things about this book specifically, and I really want to read it before its sequel comes out because I know the sequel with like a beautiful pink cover is coming out sometime in 2023. Also by Lucy Score, I have Maggie Moves On. This is actually the first book I purchased by Lucy Score, and I haven't read this one yet either, but this one sounds phenomenal, and it was highly recommended to me by my boyfriend's sister, so I really want to check it out. But this one is about our main character, Maggie, and she does house flipping as a career, and she essentially moves from place to place and doesn't really have a permanent settled location. And she goes to this town to build a house, and she meets a guy named Silas, who is a landscaper on her team, and they have an instant connection and chemistry. And obviously there's going to be that tension of like, okay, well, she moves and he lives in this town, but nonetheless, I think that this sounds so good. I really want to try Lucy Score, like I said, and I think that this honestly might be the first one I read of hers between the two that I now have, but nonetheless, I'm really happy to have them on my shelf because I've been really wanting to try her books out, and I think that this one sounds really fun. It takes place in the summer, and the cover is so cute. The next book I got is a Christmas gift from my parents, and that is How to Love Your Neighbor by Sophie Sullivan. I haven't actually read anything yet by Sophie Sullivan, but all of her books have these beautiful covers that have really caught my eye, and this one in particular sounds really good. Just like the last book I talked about, it has to do with like house building and things, and it is an enemies to lovers between two people. It sounds like the grumpy neighbor and then our main character. It just sounds really good, and I don't know, I think the cover is honestly what instantly attracted it to me, and I'm excited. I think this is gonna be really fun, and I'm really hoping that with reading this, maybe I can discover a new romance author that I want to pick up more. Also in the same vein, I also received Do Not Fall in Love from my parents, but my physical copy is not currently with me. I read Do Not Fall in Love in 2020 and I really enjoyed it. It was the famous person times regular main character trope, and the main female character owned a bakery donut shop, and the descriptions were literally like mouth-droolingly good. Like, they sounded so good. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm really excited to have a physical copy of it because I truly love that book so much. And I still need to pick up the sequel, which is The Stand of Groomsmen, and I'm looking forward to reading that one because it's like a spin-off with the side character who is like a roommate in the first book, so very excited to have a copy of that on my shelves as well. The final two books I have were both gifts from my boyfriend's mom. The first one is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmas. I honestly had not heard a lot about this book until I received it, but like, this copy is so pretty. First of all, it has these gorgeous blue like stained edges that I am completely obsessed with, and also I think the cover is just so beautiful and vibrant. From what I understand about this book, first of all, the end pages are like a periodic table, and also it is like the Barnes & Noble Book of the Year. But from what I understand about it, it's about our main character Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is a woman in STEM in the 1960s, and she ends up falling in love with this like Nobel Prize winning scientist guy, and you know, they have a family and all this, and then something happens, and a few years later she actually ends up being on a beloved cooking show called Supper at 6, and she kind of gets known for using like chemistry stuff in the cooking. I don't totally know like how this book works and stuff, but I think it sounds really fun and has great potential. I feel like it's had a lot of good reviews from what I've seen, and again, the book is just gorgeous. I am really excited to read this one in 2023, and I am so happy to have like this beautiful Barnes & Noble exclusive edition because like, I truly cannot get over just how gorgeous this book is. And the final book for my haul is The DoOver by Lynn Painter. If you have stuck around my channel, you probably know that I actually read this book for a video a while ago, and I loved it so much. So I asked for a finished copy for Christmas because I love Lynn Painter, and I really wanted to just have a beautiful finished copy of The DoOver. So The DoOver is her second YA contemporary book about our main character named Emily. And Emily is stuck on a time loop on Valentine's Day. She has literally the worst Valentine's Day of her life, literally described as a dumpster fire in the synopsis. And she goes to bed and wakes up and bam, it's another awful Valentine's Day. And no matter what she does on Valentine's Day, she always ends up running into our male main character, Nick, usually in the form of a car accident, and they kind of just keep getting thrown together. So the book takes place over that time loop, and this book was phenomenal. It is a really fast-paced story, and it's really cute. There are a lot of Taylor Swift references, and I loved the romance. This is one of my favorites of 2022, and also I just adore Lynn Painter, so I'm always going to recommend her books. This one was phenomenal, and I am so happy to have a beautiful finished copy on my shelves. So all in all, those were all of the books that I have received or gotten or purchased for this haul. I think there were like 12 to 13 or something of them. I'm really excited to read all the books that I haven't already read, and I'm so fortunate and thankful to have a couple books that I have read but now have copies of on my shelf. Again, I just want to say thank you so much to the publishers who sent me books, to my parents and friends, and everyone who supported me and gave me books. I love receiving books as gifts. They always just make me so happy. If you watched the end of the video, thank you so much. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or want to talk about the books, please feel free to comment or let me know. My Instagram handle is right here, and I always try to respond to DMs as much as possible. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff so you can stay tuned on my videos, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!